What if we could love the way Jesus did? Passionately, faithfully, powerfully. What if the way we love could make a difference in the world around us? What if that love looked at everyone the way God does? A love which doesn't see the past, but is consumed by a desire to see people come to know Jesus. A love which is patient and kind, not envious or prideful. A love which puts others before ourselves, chooses peace over anger. A love which protects, trusts, hopes, perseveres. Do we love like this? Do we love like Jesus? Maybe it's time to ask a simple question. How can we love better?
Oh goodness, how can we love better? So my dad and I, we've only ever had one fight in my entire 37 years of life. We've only had one fight. And it was a pretty good fight. So Lisa and I were dating, and I think it was my first year, I think it was my second year of college, her first year of college. And I had this habit, this robotic habit. As soon as I would walk into the door, we had two doors. We had a main door and we had a screen door. And I'd lock both doors because we lived on 7th Street at the time. I don't know if you know anything about 7th Street. A little shady. Okay, so, and where we were was like really, really shady. And so we just locked our doors all the time. Like one time somebody got shot and I had to give a police statement, shady. So I just locked it all the time. And my dad, so anyway, it was one of those days, Elise and I were hanging out and we came home and I locked the door and Elise and I decided we were going to go up to my room. We're going to watch some Christian videos on DVD. Yeah, right? Yeah, that's
good, man.
Yeah. So that's actually what we did. So I just got this new DVD in the mail. It has all these, because that's what they used to do. This was like late 90s, early 2000s Christianity, okay? You would get these DVDs of these Christian music videos. And so I got the new DVD. I was like, we gotta watch all these music videos because it was just a different time back then. I didn't have a cell phone, okay? That's the reality of the world that I'm living in right now. The cell phones weren't a thing. And so this is how you got content. And so we were so excited to watch this. So the door's locked. My dad gets home. He can't get in the house. I don't have a cell phone. There's no way my dad can get a hold of me. He knows Elise is here because he sees the car. So we're watching. We're literally in my room. I was up in the attic. We're watching Christian videos. All of a sudden I hear this noise on the window, the second story window. I'm like, what was that? And then I'm looking at the window and I hear the noise again. And what the noise was, it was a shoe. My dad had thrown his first shoe to hit the window. Then he threw the second shoe. I don't know what he was going to do if I didn't hear the second shoe. I mean, he's just running out of heavy things to throw. He hits the window with the shoe. I look out, there's my dad in the yard, shoeless, just staring up at me. He's ticked, okay? But it's that weird phase of life because I'm a second-year college student, so I'm not really a high school kid, but I'm not really an adult. I'm just in this weird phase. But me and my dad, we don't argue, so we've never had a chance to test where I stand as far as having arguments with my father. So I open the door and my dad busts through. He is so mad. And he's just furious because he couldn't get in the house. And I can't even explain to him what's been going on. And then my dad makes an assumption. A very, very big assumption. In front of Elise, he says to me, well, I just hope in 9 months we don't have a problem. What does it mean? What does that mean? Afterwards, we'll talk about it. Okay. I lost it. At this point, I mean, I'm a 19-year-old, pretty decent-sized guy. I mean, to be honest, I started beating my dad in basketball about 10 years prior to this. So, what my dad had left on me physically was a little bit gone. And I got in my dad's face. Literally, I walked up, hit him with my chest, got him. I've never done this to my dad before. And I said, why don't you say that again? My mom was in the room. She goes, okay. So she gets in between us. And I said, you know what? You need to figure out, I can't remember exactly what I said. You need to figure something out. And I walked out the door with Elise. And I remember like at one point in the argument, I was like, we were watching Christian videos! Christian videos! Like, you can't make this up. That's actually what was happening. So anyway, it all settled over. Obviously, everything was fine with that. But my dad made this big assumption. And I think assumptions are the worst. Especially if you're a teenager. Like, you guys live in this horrible world of assumptions. Like, isn't that the truth? Like, I don't know if you've ever experienced this before, but do you have friends in your life that your parents are just right out of the gate? Like, listen, I don't want you around that person. Anybody have friends like that where your parents made it very clear, I don't want you anywhere near where you're going to get influenced like that? Anybody like that? You're like that? Is anybody that friend? You know you're just a friend that people are like, don't hang out with you. Is that you? Because that's the rule. Like, if you don't know anybody in your life that's like that, chances are you are the person that people are saying, don't hang out with that person. So, like, you know what I'm talking about, right? There's people in your life that there's these assumptions about them, and those assumptions determine their story, right? And this is the world that you live in. This is what it means to be a teenager right now. You live in a society that has all these assumptions about you. And here's the problem with the world that we live in. Society expects nothing from you. As a matter of fact, as a teenager, society not only really expects nothing, society actually expects the worst out of you. And it does so that the world you live in will actually create these boxes, these safe spaces for you to do the bad things that they already expect you to do because they just think you're going to do. Here's some examples. Some of you know this. I knew this because I had friends in high school whose parents did this. Some of you have friends who do this. But I had friends in high school where their parents was like, listen, I know you're going to drink. I know you're going to go get drunk. So how about you just drink and get drunk at my house? So instead of you being out there doing something and getting hurt, I just know you're going to do it. So all your friends can come to my house tonight, and you guys can drink and do all that. Like, I have friends like that, and some of you probably know what I'm talking about. You have situations like that where it's like, I know you're going to make that bad decision, so guess what? Just come over to the house and just get drunk at the house and party here because I know it's going to happen. I also had a lot of friends in high school whose moms were like, listen, I know you're going to have sex. So instead of you going and having sex and getting pregnant, I'm just going to put you on birth control. So that way, we don't have to worry about a problem in 9 months. And so what happens is, I know you're going to have sex, I know you're going to do all this stuff, so let me just create a box that you can do that stuff in and be okay. And this is what the world you live in does. It creates these assumptions about you, and it puts you in these boxes because it just assumes the worst. It just assumes you're already going to do these things. I mean, this is social media. This is the world that it assumes all these things about you, and it just puts these spaces where you can do that. Like, listen, and that's the thing about social media. Like, I learned a long time ago through Alex Perez that don't fight against social media because it's not worth fighting against it. So we should always press into social media. We should be a light in the darkness of that. But you guys know what TikTok's all about. Goodness, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff from TikTok. But what also is TikTok? It is a space that is created for people to just do things that aren't good. If you're going to do them here. So what you get is a world that has already made its mind up about you. And the problem with that is that's just bull. It's not fair. And somewhere along the lines, we believe it. We start believing what everybody else already assumes about us, and that becomes our story. And that assumption, goodness, that assumption can change an entire life. Now, thankfully, my dad and I were fine. But I got to be real with you. I know people in my life who have horrible relationships with people in their life because of a moment like that. An assumption was made, something was said, and they were never the same because of it. And that's the world that we live in. And it's awful because that's not fair for you. Now, we say this all the time, and it's a good way to kick off this new year, a good way to kick off teaching. Here's my promise to you. I'm never going to teach you and talk to you like a high school student. I'm never going to do that. And the people that are on this stage, the expectation is they're never going to talk to you like a high school student. We are always going to talk higher because we expect more out of you. We expect you to be more than what everybody else in the world expects you to be because we're driven by something that's so much deeper than that. So in the Old Testament, Jeremiah speaks these words that are still true today about me and you. And so Jeremiah, it says this, before I shaped you in the womb, I knew all about you. Before you saw the light of day, I had holy plans for you. a prophet to the nations. That's what I had in mind for you. The reason why we believe in speaking up, the reason why we believe in talking to you like you're adults and not talking to you like teenagers, the reason why we have an expectation for you to be greater and be better and be more than what everybody else is because of this. Because there's a God that knows you and loves you, and before you ever took oxygen into your lungs, He knew you and He formed you and He had a plan for you. That God made you to be good. And He made your life to have meaning. That's what God had in mind when He made you. So God has put you in a box. And you're never going to get out of that. You will always live in somebody's box. Now, hopefully you get good people in your life that put you in a box that's higher than where you are. People that believe in you, that have hope in you. People that expect you to be more than what you are, not people that expect you to be less or expect you to be worse. But God has an expectation, and that expectation is that you be great. Because He's put that in you. He has created you for a purpose. And so because of that, we want to take the stage very seriously. I want to make sure every time you choose to use your time, your Sunday night, your 90 minutes that we hope is the best 90 minutes of the week, if you show up here, and hopefully you bring other people here, if you're going to do that, then it's our responsibility to take this time when we speak truth to make it matter, to make it count, and to push you bigger and further than where you are. So you guys know I'm a quote guy. I love quotes. I collect them. And I found this quote. This quote was actually shared by a friend of mine during the Capitol protest that happened about a month ago. And everybody was like, had this opinion, and everybody was throwing all this stuff out. And my friend shared this quote. And I thought it was so beautiful. And I think it's so appropriate for where you're at right now, where I'm at right now, where we're at as a ministry. It says this: do not be dismayed by the brokenness of the world, because all things break. I don't know if you know that or not, but that's the reality. All things break. And goodness, what a year it has been. Like this past 10 months has just been insane. It's been so bad that these next 3 weeks, starting next Sunday, we're going to start a 3-week series called I'm Not Okay. And we're just going to talk about it. We're just going to say some things out loud that we just need to say out loud, because it's been a sucky year. It's just been awful. And we've gone through some things, and we've lost some things. And we should own that. You should own that. You should be acknowledged for the loss that you've experienced this past year because you felt it. I think that's one of the things that happens as adults. We look down on teenagers and we say, well, you have no clue what it's like. You didn't lose this and you didn't go through this. You don't know. Yes, you do know. You feel things just as real as anybody else in this world feels them. But for some reason, sometimes people think you don't get a chance to say how you feel, and you should. But don't be blinded by the fact that there's not going to be brokenness. There will be brokenness. Everything breaks. But all things can be made. Everything can be fixed. But it cannot be fixed with time. That is a lie. If anybody tells you that time heals all wounds, that's a lie. It doesn't happen. Time doesn't heal anything. Time just makes the pain stretch longer. Things are not healed with time, but they are healed with intention. Intention means you do something on purpose. That's what intention is. That's how things heal. That's how things get better. That's how things grow. They go with intention. And you were created to live life with intention. God says that before you took a breath in the womb, I have a plan for you. I have something in mind for you. That your life should be intentional. That's the thing that's amazing about being a teenager. Like, this is the most amazing time right now because you're in this position where you can make some decisions. You can do some things that are really great. And you can also do some things that are really bad. In the midst of it all, you can start to figure out who you are and learn who you are and write your own story. Hopefully the story that God wants to write on you. But it's not going to happen with time. It will happen with intention. I hear stuff like that all the time, like things are going to be better 3 months from now. Things are going to be better 6 months from now. Things are going to be way better when I become a sophomore or a junior or a senior. Things are going to be way better when I get out of high school. No! Things are not going to be better when those things happen. Things become better when you live your life with intention, because you understand that you are not just some person sucking up air, but you were created with a purpose. That God has a plan for your life. That's why we do what we do every week. The reason why we show up here, the reason why we've got such an amazing group of adults. Like, we've got the best adult leaders who have stuck through all the things that we've gone through, and they show up every week because they love you guys, because they believe in you. The reason why I'm here, and I told you guys this at Snow to Go, now more than ever, my resolve in what we're doing is stronger than it has ever been. Because we believe in you. That God's got this plan and this purpose for you. And there are people that are not here right now that should be here. And they're not going to get here through time. They're going to get here through what? Intention. You owning that person and saying, it is my mission to get you into this community. It is my mission to get you back on track where you need to be. It's my mission to get you in a place where you feel love and you feel purpose and you feel acceptance. So if we are made to live with intention, then we should go. We should love intentionally and love extravagantly and love unconditionally, because there is a broken world that is in darkness and they are waiting for the light that is inside of us. So that bumper video was, how do we love better? How do we love like Jesus? How do we love in a way that makes people feel like they matter? You know how we do it? We do it with an intention. We're intentional. We show up in people's lives, and we keep showing up, even when they don't want us around. And we choose to love people, even when people don't want to be loved. We choose to be intentional with the people in our life, and we choose to be intentional about our faith. Because here's the thing, if you would be someone in this room that would stand up and say, man, Adam, I have a relationship with Jesus. I've given my life to him. Being intentional isn't just something that you need to do. It's something that you have to do. Like, you have to do it. If you have a relationship with Jesus, your life has to be intentional. It can't be anything other than intentional. So in 1 Corinthians, Paul says this, have you forgotten that your body is now the sacred temple of the Spirit of holiness who lives in you? That moment that you say yes to Jesus, what are you saying? You're saying, Jesus, you get all of my life. You get everything. My heart, my mind, my relationships, my thoughts, my future, everything belongs to you, Jesus. It is all yours. And it says, you don't belong to yourself any longer, but for the gift of God, the Holy Spirit lives inside your sanctuary. You want to know the reason why we take this so serious? The reason why I take it so serious, that more than any other time in my life, I have been so hard on asking the question, how do we teach better? How do we communicate better? How do we do groups better? The reason why is because your life has incredible value. And it doesn't matter if you feel like it does or not. Because I know some of you are here and you're like, listen, I feel like crap. Like, I've had a really hard stretch. And I don't feel any of the things that you are saying. But it doesn't matter, because the truth is not based upon your feelings. Truth is based upon God. And listen, we can have a lot more time to unpack that. If you're like, I don't think that's true, then please see me afterwards, because I can prove to you there are so many situations in your life where things are true despite feelings. And if it's true for that, it has to be true for this. But the reason why we are so passionate about this, the reason why we are not going to let you fail, the reason why we're not going to let you fall, the reason why we're going to push you to be everything that God made you to be, is because of what is said in verse 20. You are God's expensive purchase, paid for with tears of blood. That's why you matter so much. Because Jesus gave his life to save you. He shed his blood for you. It wasn't enough that when he made you with a purpose. But when you and I got off track and we selfishly chose ourselves over God, and he had every right to wipe his hands from us and say, you selfish, dirty people, just go chase after the stuff you want to chase after. He didn't do any of that. He chased us. And he saved us. And he died for your life. Your life came at a cost. So when we speak words from this stage, we're going to speak it with intention. And the expectation is you're going to live your life with intention. So use your body to bring glory to God. Use your life with intention. So go back to that quote. So don't be dismayed by the brokenness. Listen, bad things are going to happen. Something bad did just happen to all of us. But it's not going to be the only bad thing that we've experienced and faced. There will be brokenness in this world. But the things that are broken can be fixed, not with time, but with intention. So go. Love. Intentionally. Extravagantly. Unconditionally. Live your life with intention. The people in your life, they should know that you are serious when you look them in the face and say, I love you, I care about you, I'm here for you. They should know that you're not playing when you say those words. And they should also know the same is true when you talk about Jesus. But listen, I got that one friend. They're a little weird. Like they love me in a kind of a weird way, and sometimes it's a little like creepy. And in the way they love Jesus, like I just don't know. But here's the one thing I do know. Like it's intentional. As uncomfortable sometimes as it is, they actually care about me, and they show up in my life, and they don't let me down. And this thing they got going on, that place called F1oorOne, like it feels like the real deal. It feels like a group of people that actually care about me. They're willing to come alongside me and fight for me. And then these adults that show up every single week. I don't know why they show up, but they do, and they just show up, and they're present, and they're there. That should be our story. That should be what people say when they talk about me and they talk about you. Because there is a broken world that waits in darkness. The light that's in you. Man, some of you, you know what that's like. You remember those days where you lived in darkness. And somebody loved you and reached out to you and you heard about this guy named Jesus, and it changed your life. It changed you. So let's live with intention.
That's going to be it for today's video. Thank you for watching. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel and click the links in the description. And remember, if nobody told you they love you today, remember we do and we always will. Bye!